All right. We got the screen up, right? You got it. Let me open Firefox. This is the MediaWiki. We're all familiar with this, right? Okay. Just for your information, what we're going to start with is looking at the library catalog. That's how we find books in our Media Center. And it's the top link right here on the MediaWiki. So when I click that top link, it's going to open up the library catalog search page. Now, before we actually start searching, right now, what section of the library are we sitting in? Nonfiction. There's a green sign up there that says nonfiction. Okay? We sat in the nonfiction section today because this is where all of your relevant books are going to be. Are you going to find too much relevant to this project in the fiction section? No. Now, the nonfiction section is organized in numeric order. It's a number order that starts at 000 and it counts up to 999. All right? It starts right here on this low shelf. This low shelf right here begins the 000 counting, and it winds its way up and down those low shelves. When it gets to the end back there, where Brendan's sitting, it makes a leap and it comes over here to the wall by the computer lab. That's where the 500s pick up. And when it gets to the end of that wall, where the 6th grade hallway is, it jumps across again, and underneath the television is where the 600 starts. And then it just continues in numeric order, 600s, 700s, 800s. And then at the end, finally, these low shelves zigzagging back and forth are the 900s all the way to the end. So you see how it's sort of just a winding zigzag line counting up from 000 to 999? Good. Do you know what those numbers do? Do you know what they're organized by? Tell me.
Like category?
Yeah, it's like a category or a subject, okay? So 500s are all the science books. Everything dealing with science falls somewhere in that 500 section. All the books about sports are all in one section together. All of the biographies are in one section together. They group them together like in the subject to make it easier for you to find similar materials, okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to practice looking some things up and finding them on the shelf, because we didn't pull the career books off the shelf for you. That's your job. I'll help you. If you get stuck and you need some more, I'll be happy to help, but I want you to take the first steps and try to be independent with this. So this is our search page. The search bar is up at the top. You can search by title, author, or subject. In this case, we're probably going to be searching by subject. You're looking for careers, or you're looking for body system type stuff. So let's start with a body system, just to mix it up. What's a body system subject that I could search in the catalog here? Yes? Circulatory system. Now, whenever you're typing words into the catalog, my advice to you is to just use the main searching words. So I could type just the word circulatory, or I could type the word circulatory system, but I don't want you to type, show me books about the circulatory system. When you type out whole sentences like that, it really kind of mucks things up. It confuses the computer. So my best advice to you is really boil it down to the main keywords, the main topics. You don't need a full sentence. Okay? Believe me, I've seen students do it. That's why I'm telling you. Please don't use a full sentence. So when I search circulatory system and hit enter, here you can see books and videos related to the circulatory system. Now, this first one, it says it's in the AV collection. What does that make you think? AV, do you know what that stands for? Audiovisual. So Emily, what is it? What do you think it is? Nope, you're close. What do you think it is? Yeah, video. It's like a DVD or VHS. So you're allowed to watch the movies that we have here, but my first suggestion would be to try the books first. So let's move on to the second one. Here's one called The Heart, Our Circulatory System. And you can see it's in the nonfiction section, and beneath that there's a call number. That call number, Colin, can you read that call number to me? Say it louder so I can hear you. 612.1, and then what are the letters? SIM. 612.1 SIM. The book is called The Heart, Our Circulatory System. When you're searching for books, I recommend having a little scrap piece of paper. You look at the call number and you write it down. Now, beneath that, do you see in the green letters, it says it's available. What does that mean? Brendan. It should be on the shelf. Okay? If everything's working correctly, that means it should be on the shelf. So if I've written this down, I've got the number, I know it's on the shelf, what's next? How do I know where to find this? Do I just start randomly looking at all the shelves until I find 612? It's in numeric order, right? Did you notice on the edge of these shelves there are yellow markers? Those are signs. Do you notice on these tall ones at the top there's a clear sticker on top of each one of them? On these low shelves right over here, there's again, on the ends there's a yellow one. That's telling you the range of numbers on each shelf. So you can look at the range on each shelf to narrow it down to find that one shelf where this one would be. Now the way that I kind of use this is I use that green 500 sign as like the midway point. Anything less than 500s I know is going to be in that direction. Anything greater than 500s is going to be in this direction, right? So if this one is 612, it's going to be on this side, right? So Colin, if I give this scrap piece of paper to you, can you go to the shelf and find the heart, our circulatory system, 612.1 SIM? While he's looking, look at the next one. The heart and circulatory system. The call number is again, what? 612.1. Look at this one, pumping life. The heart and circulatory system, 612. Why are all these numbers the same?
They're all on the same shelves.
And it's the same subject. They're putting all of them together. Colin, it's 612.1 SIM. That's what's on. It's called the heart, our circulatory system. If it has a if this one has a picture, it looks like it's kind of purplish and red. It's by Seymour Simon. Did you find it? While he's doing that, I know you can do it. I believe in you. Look at this next one, respiration and circulation. This is two body systems, but they're related, right? The call number, again, is 612.1 LLA. Who can find this one for me? 612.1 LLA. It's called respiration and circulation. Colin, I knew you could do it. I'm going to leave this on the cart.
I thought I got it wrong.
No, you got it exactly right. We're going to leave this on the cart because chances are somebody may need a book about the circulatory system. While he's looking for respiration and circulation, let's look up another topic. What's another body system?
No,
Skeletal system. So I'll go up to the top. Did you get it? Thank you. Perfect. Human body, respiration and circulation. Can you throw that on the cart so we have it for future use? Now, we looked up skeletal system. Now, the first two I'm looking, they both say AV collection. That's our video collection. One way that you can bring back a search that leaves those out, if you look on the right-hand side here, you see how you can sort it by format. You can click book or visual materials. Let's click book so that we're only looking at the books. So we have one called Body by Design, from the digestive to the skeleton, and it's REF 612. What do you think it means when there's REF in front of it? Is that going to be over here in the 612 where Colin was? It's going to be on the reference wall. It's going to be the reference wall. But again, it's 612 because it's that same topic. And then this other one, skeleton, is 573.7 PAR. Who can get this skeleton book in the 573.7? And then, Alex, I'm going to write down that reference one. Can you go get that one? It's called Body by Design. It's reference 612 NAG. I can tell you it's going to be on the right-hand side of this one. Do you see how we're using this catalog? We look up our topic. We can tell, is it in the reference collection or is it in the nonfiction collection? That gives us the general idea of the space. And then we write down the call number on a scrap piece of paper, and we can use the stickers and labels on each shelf to narrow down so we're not wasting a lot of time just wandering around aimlessly, right? Cool. Now, what happens? Most of these that we've been looking up, they've had a green label. They all say available. That means they're on the shelf. Perfect. I knew it. Thank you. If you go to the shelf and you find one and it's not there, but it says it's available on the catalog, what do you think that means? What do you think that means, AJ? What's the first thing I'm going to tell you to do? If you say, Mr. Jurgen, I looked it up in the catalog, I wrote it down, I went right to the shelf, and I couldn't find it. It's just not there. I've got a pretty good idea where it might be. Do you know? Look on the cart. What if somebody else has already pulled it off for you? Just like these books that people have been getting for me, they're already on the cart. The skeletal system book. We put those on there because we've already done the work. We found them, now we're putting them in one place to make it easy for everyone. So if you don't find it on the shelf, check the cart first. If it's not there, then come talk to me, because then we might have a problem. We might need to do a little more investigative work to try to find it. It may also be at one of your tables. If someone else is using it in the class, it may be right there in front of you. Yes, Colin?
Or someone who wasn't doing this, check it out and put it in there.
That's true. There's a few options, but the first two places I would look, I would definitely look on the shelf, and if it's not there, I would check the cart. Okay? Any questions on how to use the catalog to find books, whether it's about your career or about a body system? It works the same. Comfortable with that? Yes?
Do you search by an author?
Yeah. Who's your favorite author? I search Rowling. That's J.K. Rowling, right? So we have books about J.K. Rowling. We have books by J.K. Rowling. We have audiobooks by J.K. Rowling. We have books in Spanish by J.K. Rowling. Okay. So yeah, you can search by author name. If you have a specific author that you're looking for, you just type the author's name. Any other questions? Okay. Back to the Media Wiki. I made a special page on my Media Wiki specifically for this research project. If you look on the left-hand side, there's a link that says Career Research. When you click the Career Research tab, this is specific for this class. Okay? Now, I've gathered the most important resources and put them in one place to make it easier for you. Now, I start off with the print resources. That's what we've been talking about. We've already shown you the BBMS library catalog, how to use it, how to find books in our library. I also put the link for the Howard County Public Library. How many of you or your parents have a library card for the public library? Good. Do you think it's okay if you go to the public library to look for books about your career or your body system? Yeah. It would be awesome if you did that. Because we have a decent collection here, but the Howard County Public Library has an even better collection, okay? Now, the books that we use here, we're keeping them all in the cart so that everyone has access to them, right? If you go to the public library, do you have to keep them on a cart? No. You check it out and it's yours. That's a leg up that you get over other students. If you're willing to make the time to go to the library, that's one up for you. You get to keep those, okay? The library catalog for the public library is just as easy to use as ours. You can search by topic, author, or title, and their collection is organized the same way with the numeric system, the Dewey Decimal System, organizing it by subject. So you would use theirs the same way that you're using ours. The next group of things that I want to talk about are the online resources. Using the books is only half of the deal here. You're also going to be using online resources. Now, your first instinct may be to just open up a web browser, go to Google, and try your searching there. I can tell you, in previous years, students have had a lot of success with these specific websites. I'm pulling these out and highlighting them for you because I think that you should start with these. I think that if you use these websites instead of just doing an open Google web search, you'll have a lot more luck with a lot more reliable sources right from the beginning. So between these websites and databases and the books and stuff from the library, you'll be set. Now, the first one I want to show you is this top one. It's called Choices Explorer. When you click Choices Explorer, you'll see this login window. Most of our databases log you in automatically, right? This one does not log in automatically, but the username and password is in your agenda book. So everyone has that username and password. The important thing to note, when I open this page, the first tab is called Portfolio Name, and that's highlighted. You actually have to switch it and click the Site ID tab to log in. So make sure you remember, hit that Site ID tab, and then you'll type in the site ID and the password. And after a couple of days, you'll have it memorized. You'll be using this so often, you'll get that 0099537 memorized. The password is Bonnie. It's easy enough. Once you type that in, Here's your login. You'll click this icon that says Choices Explorer. And this is the page that loads. The search bar is in the top right. You can search your career here. Who's got a career that I can search? Colin.
Astronomy.
Astronomy. When I type astronomy, it has a result, but it says recreation and volunteering. What is the person called who studies astronomy? Say it louder. Astronomer. Let's try astronomer. Just by changing the end of that word, now you see I've got a hit that says career. Did you see what I did? Did you notice the difference between the two? Astronomy is the subject. Astronomer is the person who's working, okay? So I typed astronomer, and here's my page for this career. Now, all of the pages in Choices Explorer are laid out just like this, just so it's consistent. It starts off, the first tab that you're looking at says what they do. This describes the job. This tells you about the day in the life of an astronomer. The second tab is the salary and outlook, just so you have an idea of what to expect for your salary, what the job outlook looks like for the future. The third tab is the education, the background certification that might be required for each job. And the fourth tab is an interview. Every career on Choices Explorer has an interview tab, an interview with an actual person who's held that job. Now, if you have an interview with a person, what kind of resource is that? Say that louder, AJ. It's a primary resource. Do you know that term? What's a primary resource? What's a primary source?
Someone that actually does the job.
In this case, yeah, it's someone who actually does that job. What if it's not a person? What is a primary source? What good is it?
Like a person kind of.
It's a first-hand account. Does that make sense? Did you have something to add to that?
Yes. Like it's someone saying exactly what happened. It's not like someone telling someone else and then that's someone else saying what that other person.
Exactly. It's a first-hand account, somebody right from the source. This is an interview with an astronomer. We have books about astronomy, and we have books about a career as an astronomer. But they were written by an author, right? That author did some research and put all the facts together, but that's not the same as going right to the source, is it? The books that we have would be a secondary resource. An interview with an astronomer is a primary resource. You see the difference? Is the interview the only type of primary resource that we have? What's another possible primary resource? Newspaper article from the time. If you're looking at something in history, if you have a newspaper article from that moment in history, it's not like a 10 years later or something, yeah, that would be a primary resource. What else?
Like photographs.
Photographs, good. Photographs are primary resources. Do you have another one?
I guess not to use.
There's a special kind of biography. A biography is a book about somebody, right? But there's certain ones that could be a primary resource. Stewie, what is it? And what's an autobiography? Yeah, the person wrote about themselves. They wrote their own biography, so it's their own words. That's a primary source. An artifact might be a primary source. So if you're studying surgeon and you have a tray full of surgical equipment, those artifacts, those little devices, that's a primary source. That's telling you specifically about that job, okay? Does that make sense? You're required to have a primary source for this project, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be one of these interviews. If you know someone and you want to do your own interview, I think that's awesome, okay? If you have other access to other types of primary sources, that's awesome. They all count.
So we have to like print this out somewhere, or we have to just copy it.
Study, just research. Okay? Yes, Colin?
So how, like,
Guys, I will go over in detail more primary sources and secondary sources for you. Your job is to just make sure when you have your career tied to your body system that you have all the sources. So please just don't find two secondary and be like, oh, I can find a primary. I know I can later. You'll need to make sure you have them all before you start writing. Because you'll be amazed how many people come
Let me point out, we're not going to have time to show you the Occupational Outlook Handbook. That's another website that's a great resource for careers. So are these three below that. Use these websites first before you get on Google. It's going to save you a lot of time and effort. These are the ones that have stood out as being the most successful in previous years. The last thing, this is quick. These are citation examples. I know you have examples in your agenda book, but these examples are specific to the resources we talked about today. The books that we showed you on the cart, or the databases and websites that I showed you up here. These are models that you can use to make sure your citations look exactly like these so that they're correct. Pushing your chairs 2 and 2 out. Have a good afternoon.